Okay, well, I appreciate the hours late and ask everyone to bear with me. I don't often consume a lot of the Chamber's time on debate, but this is a very important bill to a lot of people. A lot of good ground has been covered earlier, but I've been listening to the debate, and one thing that I don't think has been touched on or driven home enough, perhaps it'll fall on deaf ears or people that are certainly understanding, maybe a little more forgiving of our process than the folks at home, but 3 days is how long we're supposed to have bills on the desk. Now, I recall my very first substantive vote in this chamber 2 years, 3 months ago, the SAFE Act. It's a 35-page bill, and we went home that night and we voted on it the next day, but certainly the other chamber took it up that night, and all hell broke loose in the state. People were very upset with the manner that that bill got to the floor, and I'll save the merits on that bill for other people to discuss. However, just a few hours ago, this was delivered. This is portions of what is the state budget, a $142 billion spending plan that we didn't get 3 days, we got 3 hours to go through. Now, fortunately, my minority staff is outstanding, and I'm sure I speak for the entire minority conference when I share those accolades with them. They go through this and they paw through it, but I'm sure that there isn't a soul in Albany that has read all of this. And that's fine, that's our process, and there's not a lot of sympathy for us from the people at home on how difficult our job is or what time it is tonight. And so I'm not here to complain about that. But what I am here to complain about is the 130,000 people that I represent, the 130,000 people you represent, the 130,000 people everyone in this chamber represents, were denied the opportunity to vet any of this. This is a lot of work. There's a lot of money, and there's a lot of issues here. Now, before I got to the Assembly, I was in local government. I was a town supervisor. I prepared 9 town budgets. I was chairman of the board of supervisors for my county. I oversaw tens of millions of dollars at the county level. It was over $150 million of budgets. We didn't give our board of supervisors this kind of work and say we're adopting this tonight. In fact, at the local level, you can't erect a stop sign at an intersection of 2 town roads without 5-day public notice and a public hearing. And here we are with messages of necessity for hundreds of pages of documents, and we're going to vote on that tonight. Now, in addition to those issues, a lot of the problems that we're going to discuss tonight, and a lot of the debate is going to center around things that have absolutely nothing to do with budgets and dollars and cents. We were talking about policy issues. We were talking about, frankly, issues that have no business being in the budget. They're only in the budget for one reason, is because of the political leverage to make something happen that wouldn't otherwise. We've seen that happen on a lot of other bills that we've debated over the last few years, and we put this with this together to try to drag a bad idea over the goal line with a good idea. And this bill is orchestrated with 2 pieces, an ethics piece and an education reform piece. Now, there's nothing in the ethics piece that I object to, other than it's a little light on substance. Could have gone a lot farther. And what we consistently get is, we'll come back and we'll do that again another day. We'll come back and get that another day. But the ethics piece falls short. Now, it is the education bill. The education piece falls short. A couple of my colleagues have mentioned what they have heard from people back home that haven't seen the bill yet, is that they're not happy with what they've been hearing on the grapevine we're doing in Albany when it comes to education, when it comes to how we teach our children, how we evaluate our schools, how we fund our schools. And frankly, I'm bothered by the comfort some have in this chamber to abdicate the Assembly's authority and responsibility in passing off to the State Ed Department, to the Board of Regents, the people that implemented Common Core that is so well embraced in our state, and we're going to put them in charge of figuring out education reform and implementing a new process that hasn't been discussed or rolled out yet. And on top of that, we are tying school funding together to something that we don't control, and we're going to turn it over to what's been coined a nonpartisan group. I think there's a lot of people on this side of the aisle that would argue that that partisanship is very alive and well when it comes to appointing members to these commissions. So with that said, it's short on ethics, it's woefully short in education, and most importantly, these are issues that should not, need not, and ought not be part of the budget process. And for that reason, I'll be voting against this piece of legislation, and I encourage all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.